Our destination is the Bethlehem Presbyterian Church of Pachtonticia, which means flat stone water. There's a fairly good road all the way to the Pachtonticia school. The school is a major center of education for this rugged, sparsely populated area. Our guide to the church was Sebastian Santis-Pe, the Tzeltal missionary to the Huisteco Tzotzils. As we climbed the steep trail, we got a nice view of the area. And at this point, we got a glimpse of the road far below. Arrival at last, where the congregation was gathering for the service. One of their guests that day was Ernesto Gomez, the first believer of Chanal, which is several hours' walk to the south. Also present was Cristobal Gomez, who served as a missionary for a couple of years to Amatenango and Aguacatenango. He became blind, and here is being led by his son. Another impressive product of the congregation is Samuel Santis, son of a Tzeltal medical missionary. He later produced in Tzeltal a video cassette of the story of Christmas. Not there that day, but closely related to the history of the Pachtonticia Church, is Pastor Daniel Lopez, who served as their pastor for several years before he had to resign because of his struggle with epilepsy. This church is also the home congregation of missionary Roberto Santis, who evangelized Amatenango. Here his brother and his son lead in the special music. They also have a large and capable choir. The platform has a floor of bright, shiny tiles. Following the worship service, there was an outdoor service for the dedication of their new educational building. The Tzeltal Presbytery sent a delegation to lead at the dedicatory service. In the blue shirt is Dionisio Lopez, a paramedic and elder. Pastor Alonso Mendez of Tenihapa reads the liturgy. Dionisio was given the honor of opening the doors to the new building. The congregation then gathered for a photo. And we all enjoyed the meal in their dining hall with musical accompaniment. There were 2 long tables. Roberto Santis, missionary to Amatenango, is in the center of the photo. Our next trip was to the town of Oxchuc. It was a great day of celebration when the first Presbyterian church was dedicated in the town of Oxchuc. It was built on a hillside and painted with bright colors. Leading the service was Pastor Diego Gomez Garcia of Cancuc and other officers of the Tzeltal Presbytery. A hymn was sung before the doors were opened and the church filled with people. Their choir sang well. And Pastor Diego gave an inspiring message. Photos were taken following the service. Next to Helen is the town president, Sebastian Lopez Baltet, an elder from Palestina. I am wearing a new woven garment that they gave me to wear when we arrived. The leader of the congregation is this schoolteacher standing in front of me with his family. The choir sang in the dining room before the meal. The town president took us to their home for additional photos. Helen is surrounded by the well-dressed women of his family. It wasn't long before a second church was built on the edge of Oxchuc, and they invited us for a Sunday service. We found a large church building and a small but growing congregation. The inscription on the front of the church identifies it as Paradise Temple of the National Presbyterian Church of Mexico, and states that it has been officially registered with the government, which gives it added protection. When we first arrived in Tzeltal country, we never dreamed that there would be Tzeltal churches in the hostile Mexican town of Oxchuc. On another Sunday, we responded to a persistent invitation from the Oliva church, east of the Pachtonticia school. We left our vehicle in the care of a family who lived next to the road. Our guide assured us that the church was not far from the road. With us are Brenda and Don Scout, who were in charge of the mission house in San Cristobal de las Casas. The trail led through some tree-covered hills. It had rained the previous night, and the trail was very slippery. It led us through a cornfield, and it became obvious that the phrase "not far" is very relative. At last we had a view of some buildings. The trail led to the Oliva school. We rested there briefly and continued on our way. Finally, the church is in sight. It is perched on a hill with a good view to the east. One last hill to climb, and then a warm welcome awaited us. The church service began with introductions. Brenda Scout gave words of greeting. And then there was music. They had 2 local instrumental groups and a good choir. On the wall is the verse, "Come to me, and I will give you rest." Behind the church was a 2-story dining room and dormitory. Before leaving, we took a photo of the congregation. And then we began the long walk back to the road. Our destination is in sight, the road and the Pachtonticia school.